Hey folks, my name is Chris at Houseit. I'm co-founder here at Houseit, based in Miami, Florida, and today we're going to talk about a fascinating topic that a lot of New Yorkers especially ask us about when they're submitting offers here in South Florida. And that is, what is the difference between an initial deposit and the additional deposit here in Florida? Well, this is a very interesting topic because here in Florida, there oftentimes are two separate contract deposits that are wired in versus in New York, where it's typically just a single contract deposit that's sent with a signed contract that's usually 10%. Here in Florida, if you take a look at the standard Florida purchase contract by the Realtor Association here, you'll see that there are two sections. There's one for an initial deposit to be delivered, either accompanies the offer, the signed contract, or delivered within, if blank, 3 days of the effective date, which is the contract signing date. And, we've seen small numbers used for that if it's used, such as $5,000 within 3 days of the effective date, which is the contract signing date. And then you'll see lower down in the standard realtor contract that there's in a section for an additional contract deposit to be delivered within blank, and if left blank, then 10 days after the effective date. So quite interesting. And you'll notice that these dates, if you use the default 3 and 10 days for the initial and additional contract deposits, respectively, you'll notice that both of them actually fall in line prior to the expiration of the standard inspection period contingency, which is typically 15 days, I believe. It's either 10 or 15 days. So it's really quite interesting. Now, again, it doesn't necessarily need to be structured as two separate deposits. We've seen cases where it's just a single contract deposit that's just lumped into the initial deposit, and perhaps within 3 days or something a little bit longer, since it's a bigger lump sum, and that might be 10%, which is what we often see, or it can be more or less. It's off, it is negotiable. But that's really it. And another important thing to point out as well, regarding initial deposits and additional deposits, is you'll see a section on that standard contract where it says to fill in the blank for the escrow agent's information. So the escrow agent is obviously going to be the party that holds the contract deposit, and it's super important to know who that is. And ideally, if you're paying for title insurance, as is customary in Miami-Dade and Broward counties, then you also get to choose the closing attorney, so someone you ideally trust, because it's very important to trust who's holding your contract deposit. Then that's important for you to fill out as well, versus deferring it to someone else. And of course, if you need a trustworthy closing attorney here, we can refer you to some good ones we've worked with before, many personally. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, leave us a comment below. We'll get right back to you. We hope this video was instructional. Now you know that in Florida it's a little bit different, though it's quite easy to figure out what they mean when you actually read the terms of the standard contract here. It's really fill in the blank. You don't have to use the sort of the defaults. If you leave it blank, you can put something else different. Of course, you have to negotiate it with the other side. But that essentially is it. And remember, there are certain advantages to sort of having the date structured as such, because, let's say that you say 3 days for the initial deposit. Well, you can cancel even easier before 3 days. Let's say you lock in the seller, you have a fully signed contract, and you only need to turn in your first initial deposit of $5,000 within 3 days. Well, say on day 2, you're like, what, I've taken a look at some of these stocks already. I'm not a fan. I'm going to back out. Then you can back out so easily because you haven't even given any money to the escrow agent yet. And let's say, on the other hand, let's say that you want to back out on day 5, and so the day 3 was when you gave $5,000. Well, it's still a little bit better if you want to back out, because now you only need to ask the escrow agent to return $5,000 versus perhaps 10% of the contract price. which is a smaller amount of money at risk. And again, this also goes back to having an escrow attorney ideally that you choose as the buyer, so you you know who you're dealing with and you know who to ask to get your money back right away per the terms of the contract. Of course, the escrow agent needs to respect that the terms of the contract are being met. But if you are allowed per the contract to cancel and get your money back, then fortunately it's someone you know directly to ask. So very important in real estate. So there you have it. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us a note. And if you're looking to buy or sell in New York or Florida, we can help you save 6% with our agent-assisted FSBO program. And if you want more help, we have a 1% for full-service listing option. And when you're buying, we can help you save 2% or more on your purchase with a house at buyer closing credit. We give you 2/3 of the buyer agent commission. For example, here in Miami, many new construction properties offer substantially more than a traditional 3% commission to buyer's agents. They'll offer 5, 6, 7%, 7% for the Masoni Baya to buyer's agents. So 2/3 of that can be substantially more than what you were expecting. We cover all of New York City, Long Island, Hudson Valley. In South Florida, we cover Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade County, Broward County, St. Martin, and Lucie counties. My name is Chris at Houseit, and we hope to see you on the next one.